is an issue that comes up everywhere across Canada, and particularly amongst young folks that can't ever imagine owning a place is kind of a no longer even a dream. They can't even imagine renting a place that's affordable. And so hearing the stories of the folks that we spoke to today really drove home how hard it is for people to find housing and how difficult it is and how worried they are and how afraid they are, because if they have housing, they're worried about losing it and they're worried about being able to find something they can afford in the future. So it's a real fear, and we want to change that. Donc, on a parlé avec plusieurs personnes aujourd'hui qui
we
ont
talked to a
touché
number of
l'enjeu
people
de
today
logement
who
abordable. C'est vraiment un enjeu
prepared and
dans une
presented their
situation de crise
situation when
maintenant.
it comes to
Plusieurs
housing,
personnes
and
ont peur
housing
de
is in a state of
perdre
crisis
leur,
right now.
logement
Some
à
people
cause
have
de
lost their housing
le coût
because
des
of the
logements,
cost,
et on veut changer ça.
and we want to
Ça, c'est
change
pourquoi
that.
on a proposé
That's why
de bâtir
we
500 000
proposed
nouveaux
building
logements
500,000 new
abordables, de faire face
affordable
à la
housing
spéculation,
units to get
qui
rid of foreign
augmente la
speculation,
prix
which
des
is
maisons,
increasing
et
the
aussi
price of
pour,
housing,
faire face
and also
au blanchiment d'argent, qui
to
aussi
address
augmente le coût des
money
des
laundering,
maisons.
which
So that's
also
why today,
increases
when we
the cost
talked
of
about these
housing.
problems, there are some real solutions. For the past 30 years, the federal government hasn't invested in housing, hasn't played a major role in building new affordable, non-market, cooperative housing. That's why it's incredible to be here at the Molehill housing neighborhood, an example of what we need to build more of, something that we need to expand, and something that the Liberal and Conservative governments have neglected for the past 30 years. We're going to change that. We're going to build 500,000 new affordable homes. We're going to make it easier for people to buy their first home. We're going to make sure that people have an affordable rental option that's a real safe, quality place to live. We can do that. It's a matter of choices, and we're prepared to make those choices. Thank you, and I'm ready for your questions. We're not totally ready. Now I'm ready. Morning.
On housing, you mentioned that you committed to building 500,000 units, half of those within the first 5 years.
That's right.
Given, there's been analysis done on the federal level in federal departments about how long it takes to scale up actual housing projects. And, the timelines that you're suggesting don't really seem that realistic. So how do you respond to that?
We need to be ambitious. We are in a crisis. And when we're in a crisis, we can't respond with half measures. And what Mr. Trudeau and the Liberals have done is say a lot of nice words and not really follow through. We've not seen a bold commitment. In fact, their housing announcement is 19% less funding per GDP than the Harper Conservatives. So they're not taking this seriously. And what I'm committing to doing is this, that we need to act boldly. It is an ambitious target. It is an ambitious goal, but we need to set ambitious goals if we want to do something to solve the problems that people are facing.
Okay, I'm going to double down this because
Sure.
one more question, but
Yeah.
I would like to know what data you have to back up your housing projections. Also on rental subsidies, increasing rental subsidies often will just mean that housing costs get driven up. How will you prevent that?
So we've got a solution that includes a host of measures when it comes to tackling the housing crisis. We know that it's one thing, we've got to build affordable units for people. We also need to tackle some of the root causes. So we've got a plan to tackle speculation by putting in place a 15% foreign buyers tax to drive down the pressures that are driving up the cost of housing. We've seen it work here in BC. We want to build on that and have a national foreign buyers tax. The second thing we want to do is tackle money laundering, which is driving up the cost of housing. There's evidence here in BC where money laundering has increased housing and the cost of housing by at least 5%. So those are some of the root causes we want to tackle. We know that we've got to build massively. We're going to put up the money. We're going to partner with cities, municipalities, NGOs, cooperatives, and build housing. We've got to do that. But for families that are struggling right now, they need a little extra help. The rental subsidy is a way to help those families out that are just on the edge. They need a little extra help. And we're proposing a rental subsidy of up to $5,000 for those families that are just on the edge, those couples or those individuals that are just on the edge and need a little extra help to stay in their home. We can help them with the rental subsidy.
Hi, Mr. Singh, Janice Dixon, Globe and Mail. Our paper reported yesterday that Warren Kinsella and his consulting firm worked on a secret campaign to seek and destroy the People's Party and prevented Maxime Bernier from attending the debates. And a source with direct knowledge of this told my colleagues that the Conservative Party was compliant. So I'm just wondering if you have any concerns about this, if you think it was appropriate.
So with respect to having the plan to subvert another party, paid for by another party, that seems all very troubling. I think Canadians would be troubled by that. Those are things I think the Conservative government's or the Conservative Party is going to have to respond to why they did that, what they were thinking when they did this. I've made it clear that I don't believe that someone like Mr. Bernier should have a platform to spread hateful messages, because I think his messages were wrong. And so I made that comment very clear. But at the end of the day, people should be able to discuss and express their opinions as long as they're not hateful and divisive, and be able to have the forum to do that. Je pense que ce qui a été soulevé par
I think that
votre
what
journal,
was
c'est troublant.
raised there
Et
is
ce
quite
qu'on a
troubling,
appris, c'est troublant.
and we agree that it's troubling.
En fait, j'ai dit que M.
In fact,
Bernier
I said that Mr.
n'aurait
Bernier
pas dû avoir
should
la
not have
plateforme
had a platform
d'exprimer des idées
to
haineuses
express
et divisives.
hateful
Mais en fait, dans notre
ideas
système de politique
or
en
opinions,
général,
but
il
in our
faut
political
avoir
system,
l'espace
it's
d'exprimer
important
les
that
idées,
everyone have an
quand même
opportunity
les
to
idées
express
différentes.
ideas,
C'est important.
different ideas. That's important.
I understand that in 2014 you were prevented from being able to get a visa to travel to India. I'm curious if you've been able to obtain a visa since then.
I haven't applied since. At the time when it was reported, I was told it was because of my human rights stance on the rights of women, the subjugation of minority communities, and my criticism of the treatment of minority communities. And I was asked to no longer have those opinions. And I said I'm going to always speak up about human rights, and that's why the reason I was given. Well, Canadians should expect transparency from leaders. They should be able to answer those type of questions. If there's evidence that suggests he was involved in the hiring of someone for a certain task, he should be able to answer those questions. And I think Canadians expect that from their leaders and are right to do so. Je pense que l'expectation que
I
les
think
chefs
that
répondent
there
aux
is an
questions
expectation that
de ceux
leaders
qu'ils
will
ont
answer questions
engagé de faire un travail
about hiring
est-ce qu'ils
people to
l'ont
do
fait
certain jobs,
et c'était quoi le
what
but?
they did and what
C'est
the
des
purpose of that
questions
was.
appropriées
These are
et
appropriate
les
questions,
Canadiennes pensent que
and
les
Canadians
chefs doivent
believe
répondre
that
à ces
leaders
questions.
should answer those questions.
Sure.
What would happen if you became prime minister? Would that be a concern for you that you couldn't travel to have an official visit at a G20 country?
Oh no, not at all. I'm sure that any country that participates in those type of forums would want to have participation by all members, and I'm happy to continue to build dialogues with all countries. I think it's important for us to have a dialogue and a conversation and a relationship with India, an important world economy that we've got to be communicating with and having open dialogue with, and I'd be encouraging that with countries around the world, including India, and it would be something that I know it wouldn't be a problem to be able to do. Oui.
Vous avez fait plusieurs annonces au cours de la campagne électorale qui vont jouer dans les champs de compétences des provinces. Vous savez à quel point les Québécois sont chatouillés sur ces annonces-là. Jusqu'à quel point vous avez prévu des mesures d'opinion pour les provinces qui ne voudront pas avoir des programmes tels que vous voulez les faire?
Donc, c'est toujours un défi, mais
Yes,
un
it's
important
always a
défi
challenge.
pour les gouvernements fédéraux de travailler avec les provinces.
In terms of the federal government working with the provinces, it's an important piece of work and it has to be done. There are many services now available that we were able to implement because we worked together. The healthcare plan, Medicare, was something we worked together to create. So we have proposed a number of specific federal measures that will help the provinces. For example, our proposal on a national pharmacare program is a national job, a national program like employment insurance, and that will certainly help people that don't currently have access to insurance. So I think that when we're talking about public health care, we have to work together. And as the experts have said, we can deliver better services that will save money for the provinces. It will still be provincial jurisdiction. in terms of delivering medications, but if we use the power of all the country, we can reduce costs, and it will bring them down for every province, and it will save money for families and provinces, and also for businesses. So I think it's a win-win situation. There are some provinces that say, give us the money and we'll do what we want with the money. Well, if I understand your question, we have said that with all programs, Quebec has the right to opt out with full compensation. But when it comes to these programs, in order for them to operate, we have to have our collective strength behind them. And we know that there are very advanced programs that exist in Quebec, and it's more of a hybrid system, public and private. But if we can have a public, an entirely public program, that will be greatly beneficial for Quebecers, and it will also help businesses in terms of reducing the cost of private schemes. So we can really help people with that program.
Alex Ballingall with the Toronto Star. Just a NDP leader in Alberta and Rachel Notley sort of gave you like a, I guess a backhanded compliment yesterday. She's going to actually vote for the federal NDP, but still is glad that you probably won't have the power to implement your agenda, like canceling President out. I wonder what your reaction to that is.
I got to say, Premier Notley showed Canadians and showed Albertans what you get with a new Democratic government. She fought fearlessly for healthcare, for education, for university students, for farm workers. She fought for people and made people's lives better. And now we're learning, and what Premier Notley, or now Ms. Notley, has said, is that with Mr. Kenney, Premier Kenney, he's putting out a whole bunch of massive cuts that are going to hurt education and hurt healthcare. And so we know what you get with Conservatives and what you get with New Democrats. I'm thankful for the support, but I don't take anyone's vote for granted. I know the people of Alberta need supports. They're in a really difficult time, and I want to ensure that people in Alberta know I don't want to see any worker left behind. We've got a real plan to make sure workers have a real future with an economy that's diversified and that's long-lasting, that creates good jobs for them.
I know you haven't been to Alberta during this campaign. I believe you haven't been to Newfoundland either. Have you given up campaigning in regions that don't jive with your climate agenda?
Not at all. I was in Newfoundland and in Alberta before the election, just before the election began, and I was honored to have great support there. Lots of folks in those provinces want to see universal pharmacare, want to see investments in housing, care deeply about our national dental care program. It's going to make their lives better. And we know that New Democrats help out people across this country. So no matter where you live, if I haven't been able to get there, I'm sorry I wasn't able to make it out to your province. But I can tell you this, New Democrats are going to fight for you. If you elect more New Democrats, unlike Conservatives, they're going to cut services. And unlike Mr. Trudeau, who likes to say nice words but doesn't deliver on them, New Democrats will fight for you for all the things that you need in your life to make your life better.
Looks like we'll see both the Conservative and Liberal leaders down here tomorrow as well. With a bit of battleground on the last day. Still seats up for grabs in the Lower Mainland?
Yes, we are very confident of our campaign and what it's done in Lower Mainland. Here in BC in general, we see a lot of excitement because people are seeing that we're solving the solutions that they're facing. We're talking about real solutions that are going to make people's lives better. We talked about housing today. Housing is one of the biggest concerns in the Lower Mainland, one of the biggest concerns for people across Canada. And we're the only ones that are proposing real concrete solutions to tackling the root cause, speculation and money laundering, and real commitments to build more affordable housing that's going to make people's lives better. We know that people care about healthcare here in the Lower Mainland and across Canada, and our commitments for universal pharmacare and a national dental care program are going to make people's lives better. And we know that people in BC are going to see in us champions are going to fight for them.
We are seeing polling out there that suggests there are some voters out there that are going to vote strategically to prevent either a Liberal or Conservative party. Does that pose a challenge for your party as you look for?
Yeah, I want people to know that they shouldn't feel trapped. They should not feel like they have to settle for less, that they have to choose between Liberals or Conservatives. You don't have to choose between someone who let you down and fail to deliver on real action. And you don't have to choose certainly someone who's going to cut the services that you need. There is another choice. You can elect New Democrats. If you elect enough of us, we will form the next government. But either way, I want Canadians to win. To me, it's not about me winning, it's about Canadians winning. If you elect enough new Democrats, we will fight for all the priorities that we've laid out that's going to make people's lives better. We know it's going to make their lives better. So I'm asking for their trust and their support. Don't vote out of fear, vote for hope. Bonjour. Sure. No et non.
No and no.
En fait, je pense que c'était une question d'engagement avec des preuves qui montrent que quelqu'un a été impliqué dans
and a contract that shows that someone was involved in something troubling. And Mr. Scheer, if he hired someone to do those kinds of things, he has to answer the questions.
Vous allez continuer de faire votre
so
travail,
you're going to continue to do your job, I know, but it's important. And second, on the question of working together, I said there's only one party with which I cannot work, and that is the Conservative Party, because of the contrast in values or their lack of values. They're going to cut services to families and people and workers' need. So it's clear that because of that we can't work together. They do not believe that there's really a climate crisis, and they don't have the courage to address that crisis. And also, with his comments on women's choice and the right of women to choose, the question of LGBTQ communities, all of these issues that have to do with values that do not reflect our own. So as I say, it's for these reasons that I cannot work with the Conservative.
Donc, c'est une question de valeurs.
It's a question of values.
Monsieur Scheer a clairement dit qu'il va couper les services. Il est contre. Non, pour moi, ce n'est pas une question de demi-vérité. C'est une question de vérité.
For me, it's not a question of half-truths. It's a question of truth. Mr. Scheer was clear in what he said. He is against women's right to choose, women's right to abortion. That's not a half-truth. He was clear on this. And that's the reason why I cannot support him. He also said that he doesn't support LGBTQ communities. That's not a half-truth. That's the truth. He was clear. He said that. And with the cuts to services, again, he was clear. He will cut services. In his platform, which was announced just a few days ago, it states clearly that he will cut services. He said the word that the Conservatives use all the time. He will find efficiencies. What that means is that he will cut services. He did not lie. He showed exactly what he's going to do, and it's for that reason that I cannot work with the Conservative.
Yeah, so for me, it's a question of values, and the Conservatives have made it really clear that they have no alignment with me on important things. They've made it clear, Mr. Scheer's made it clear with his actual words that he doesn't support a woman's right to choose. He's personally against it, is what he said. And to me, that's not a value that I can support in any way. I believe we unequivocally have to protect a person's right to choose. That is something that's fundamental. I believe in making sure that we invest in services, and he's made it clear with his platform that he wants to cut services. Mr. Trudeau is very problematic. He is not going to do what he says, and that's why I'm asking people to elect more New Democrats. If you've got more New Democrats in place, we will actually deliver on the services that Canadians need. We will deliver on what people need. I've only ruled out working with one party, and that's the Conservatives. But if you elect enough New Democrats, we can get all these things done. We can invest in housing and healthcare and everything that families need. En fait, j'ai seulement dit que je ne peux pas travailler avec un parti à cause de manque de valeurs. Avec les autres,
party because of its values. In terms of the other parties, if we are elected as New Democrats, we will be able to implement programs that people need.
I wanted to ask you, we are 2 days campaigning left. What specifically do you have to do? Your voice is getting a little...
Just need some water, basically. But that's awesome. I'll be good now. It's going to be great. Give me 1 sec here. But you can talk, though. We're going to continue doing what we've been doing. We know that people are seeing in us real champions. They're seeing in us fighters for them. And I want people to know that's what you get with New Democrats. So New Democrats can beat conservatives. Keep that in mind as well. In ridings across this country, New Democrats beat conservatives. Also want folks to know the more New Democrats you elect, you will get the things that you want. We are not in it for the rich and powerful. That's one of the big differences. The conservatives and the liberals have shown again and again that they work for the powerful, they work for the big corporations, they work for the pharmaceuticals, the big polluters. We don't work for them. We work for people. And so everything we say, we're going to deliver because we deliver it for people. We're going to make sure we invest in healthcare and deliver universal pharmacare. We're going to make sure we deliver a national dental care program that's going to help out millions of Canadians. 4.3 million Canadians at least will get dental services that weren't able to get it before with our plan. We know that we need housing. And one of our guests earlier today, Alex, said it's as simple as just building affordable housing. We're going to do that. There's been 30 years where we haven't. We're going to do it. If you need something, if you need action on climate crisis, which we know young people are desperate for action, New Democrats are going to cancel all subsidies to the fossil fuel sector. New Democrats are going to make your life better. Vote for us and you'll have a brighter future. I think we've captured the imagination of the country because we've asked Canadians to dream bigger. We say you deserve better. And we've rejected the notion that Canadians should settle for less. And we believe in people. We believe that they deserve great things in their life. They deserve to live a bright life. I see a young person and I see them, sometimes their eyes filled with fear, and I want to replace that with hope. And I believe they deserve better. And I'm fighting for them, and I'm fighting for them with everything I've got. And my team is fighting for them because we know that they deserve so much more. And we can deliver it. That's the positive thing on all this. We got here because of choices that were made by conservatives and liberals. We can get out of here with choices that are made by New Democrats for people. So let's do this. That was a pretty cool ending, though, I thought. Yeah, I was going to repeat it in French. Yeah. Donc, ce qu'on a vu avec dans cette élection, cette campagne était une campagne où on a parlé d'espoir. Et les autres partis ont lutté entre eux, ont débattu qui est le pire. On a parlé de qui est le meilleur
to see who
pour
was
le
worst. But we want to talk about who's best for the country. And I think this is something inspiring. If we want to implement programs to change the direction of this country and improve the quality of life of Canadians, it's New Democrats. The progressive choice in this election is New Democrats. We want to realize a dream that everyone has, which is to succeed in life. And if you believe that, the New Democrats can do that for you.
Thank you. Thank you, team.